Hello, it's Trev here with another quick review from the latest Star Trek Discovery episode, Season 5, Episode 8, titled Labyrinths. We're getting there, we're getting close to the end, guys. And it's starting to heat up a little bit. I'm getting kind of excited for the finale, especially because they were allowed to go back and film some scenes to tie up Discovery once and for all. So, at the start of this episode, we have a service or a funeral, if you like, for the recently departed Lack on a Breen ship, and they're all around him mourning his loss. And it was confirmed basically by Maul that she is going to bring him back to life. She says that progenitor tech can actually do this. So not really a surprise. We knew it was going to go down this route, to be honest with you. And then we're switching back to the Badlands with Discovery. Like I said last time when I was discussing this with Gray, that it's nice to actually travel back to the Badlands. It looks as nasty as ever. And the librarian from the teaser trailer appears, and she basically says you have to make your way through to the library. It's further inside the Badlands. Fine, okay. But the Discovery's getting kind of smashed up as it's going through. You would think by now in the 32nd century that ships could withstand that, but no, they don't. It's getting kind of beat up a little bit. Discovery. I love how she's the librarian is casually still chatting to them as they're getting smashed up. I found that pretty amusing, and we see we finally see this space library as well. And if you recall from the season trailer a way back, that kind of floating, I mean, it's space, I guess. It's not really floating. You see that kind of, it almost looked like Valhalla from Thor, kind of like almost a floating kind of plateau. This is where the library's based, which is kind of cool. So Discovery rocks up there. And Booker actually tags along for this one. I think they're trying to shoehorn him in sometimes for the sake of it. But this one kind of makes sense because there's something from his whole planet of Quajon that's in the library that the librarian asks if he would come along and identify what it is. And then Burnham, she beams down to... she's always coming down Captain first. She beams down to the library and she looks at the book that's got the clue in it. It's got a little kind of... looks like another library card, and it's got a little fingerprint sensor on it. She, of course, presses it. And this knocks her unconscious, basically. And now she's stuck in a labyrinth, a mindscape, if you like. I mean, the title of the episode gave it away a little bit. Oh yeah, and let's not forget that this is probably going to be a situation where she won't have long to actually solve the clue. Surprise, surprise. Book runs in, finds Burnham on the ground. He tries to go after her. He tries to go into this like mindscape, but it's only one login at a time, which I found amusing. Only one go. So and it's confirmed. If Burnham fails the mission, she dies. Of course, she dies. I mean, yeah, that's you can't have unlimited goes. The Breen are hot on Discovery's tails from the last episode, as we know. Spore Drive really helps here, I guess. They've turned up at the library. Rayner is down there with Book in the library, and he tells Discovery to go to Red Alert. The Breen threaten the librarian in the library, so she basically decides not to actually help them. And they will have to navigate their way through the Badlands to where the library is. That's fine. I don't think they'll have a problem with that, to be fair. So it is confirmed. It is a labyrinth created by this scientist way back. It's actually a maze when you see it from top down. She literally has to get out. It's more of a maze in this case. And you would think, how difficult can it be to actually get out of there? What I found amusing was Burnham actually has a container of salt, a bucket of salt to mark where she's been so that she doesn't go back on herself. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no way she has enough salt in there. Technicality, I know. basically Rayner tells Discovery to go into hiding, avoid the Breen, because the Breen will smash them up. They don't really stand a chance against the Breen, so Discovery does go hiding for a little bit until the coast is clear. We get to the stage where it looks like Burnham has found her way out, but no, she's basically back at the start again, and there's something more that she needs to find. I mean, it was never going to be that easy, I think. I think we all knew that. For those that have watched it, it was never going to be that easy. And then what I found pretty cool, and it makes it sound like I always wanting some pew-pew action, which is not always the case, but the Breen ship, I think it's still that dreadnought, starts smashing the library. Basically, I thought it was like their phasers to begin with, but it's actually no, it's shield tunneling technology, Discovery identifies it as, which is pretty damn cool. It does what it says, punches its way through the shields a little bit so their troops can beam down. And I like the fact to show Burnham running out of time, all the lights in the library start turning off, bit by bit by bit, and she obviously is putting two and two together, realising she doesn't have much time to actually pull this off before it is lights out for her as well. Now, while this is happening, Discovery is taking a bit of pounding in the Badlands because it's now out of the safety of the library and it is in the plasma storm and getting smashed up a little bit. Jet Reno, the legend that she is, comes up with a plan to stop the Breen's tunneling technology, and she knows everything from all these jobs she's had over the years. Discovery manages to close the tunnel, but not before some troops get through. And I'm thinking to myself, how the hell does Discovery do that from such a distance? Because it's got to go far enough away to hide, yet it can stop the tunneling technology. It's a nitpick, I know. Gray and I will discuss it more on Sunday on the live discussion, so I hope you can join us for that. Now, there's a couple of funny moments in this episode, which I suggest you pay attention to. Book has managed to get at least one of the Breen, but he's been shot himself in the process. And you hear, you basically see the Primarch equivalent of a GoPro on a Breen, I guess, because he can see the view that the Breen has, and he sees Book shooting one of his soldiers, and then you see Rayner basically go, "There's more of that down here, you gelatinous assholes." I had a chuckle at that. I love Rayner. For those that have been watching the last few reviews that we've been doing, love the guy, so I like to see him get some. Let's say Book takes a shot himself. He's hurt, but it's not serious, thankfully. Rayner is basically ordering everyone back to Discovery within 5 minutes, and it feels more like 15, like typical Star Trek talk. And if that means they lose Burnham when they beam back, so be it. They can't beam her back because of this device connected to her forehead, and the library shields are up, so we could lose Burnham. Of course we don't. It's getting close to the end for Burnham. Burnham, as she's sitting down speaking to what I can only describe as her own mind talking back to her in the form of Booker, and she says herself, it's looking like the end for me. But she admits she doesn't want to die. She's not perfect. She's got this and that to achieve and do. And she asks basically this version of Booker, like, what was the test anyway? Like, what was it just before the lights finally go out? Because they're almost out. And Book says, it's okay, you've actually passed. She's like, what? I kind of knew it was going to go down this route, to be honest with you. And basically the moral of the story was it's about knowing oneself, because if you're going to have all that power, it's got to be the good guys that have this power, this version of the Booker saying, which makes sense, which makes complete and utter sense. And Book says, it's okay, you've actually passed. She says, So Burnham's really confused. She's told where the last clue is within a crystal somewhere nearby. She wakes up just in the nick of time to get this crystal, beam out back to Discovery as the Breen beam down and open fire, just in the nick of time as always. The nasty ass Breen are going to destroy the archive if Discovery doesn't give them all the clues. So Burnham says, right, I'll give you the clues, but you must swear a Tergun, which is basically a sacred oath that a Breen cannot go back on. She basically asked Tilly to beam to the bridge, put the last piece of the clue, which was in the crystal, into this device, and then they can find out where the next clue is, or they've got all the pieces of the clue, their final destination. A little star chart appears, and then she literally beams the device back over to the Breen dreadnought. So she kind of got her cake and ate it at the same time. Now, the plan is because the Primarch is going to destroy the library, the Tergun is basically to save them, but it doesn't say anything about destroying Discovery. So the Breen open fire in Discovery. Burnham's got a great plan. Listen, literally just before we go to Black Alert and jump, I want you to vent all atmosphere from the cargo bay to make it look like we're being destroyed. Okay, great plan. But what I find cool here is, I don't know what was taking them so long to do it, because the Breen start firing on Discovery and smashing it up, like pretty bad. The shields are pretty much gone just as Discovery jumps, and it looks like she explodes. Obviously she doesn't. She jumps and arrives wherever she's arrived. This scene looks very cool. It looks like the Battlestar Galactica scene near the very end of the more recent series in the 2000s, where Galactica's back looks like it's broken. The ship looks messed up when it jumps out of its spore jump drive thing. I found that was pretty smart. Typical, their spore drive and warp drive are down and they're 22 light years away, so the Breen only needs 6 hours to get there, so they don't have long to fix everything on there. Meanwhile, back in the Breen dreadnought, the Primarch is no more, as he was literally killed by Maul. He was going to open fire on the library despite having a Tergun, and one of his soldiers basically pulls a phaser on him, and she uses the chance to literally kill him. And she says, "I can bring back your savior. I can bring back Lack." Is Maul the new Primarch? I don't have a clue. It was decent. 7 out of 10 for me this year. I just hope we see some bit of a starship fight at the end. Not that Discovery stands much of a chance, but listen, thanks guys for that. We'll wrap it up there. Join us back on Sunday evening at 8 p.m. GMT if you can afford to. If not, we'll be uploading it shortly after. And Gray and I will be going live and discussing this in detail, so you can jump in and say hello if you want. Until then, take it easy. Have a good one. Bye bye.